GOTH Mommy March 7th is back in the game, guys, and she's in a new form, Evernight, guys. So in today's video, guys, we're gonna be talking about how she dominates you. I mean, how she works, how she'll be crushing the enemy's dreams and hopes and everything like that. So without further ado, guys, let's start off with her best light cones first. Then we'll talk about what her best teammates are, because if you do not run the right team, she will not be crushing any balls. I can assure you that. Especially not yours. If you like videos like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now, and let's go ahead and talk about what her best in-slot light cones are. Starting off with her best in-slot light cone first, guys, obviously her signature light cone, guys. Because the first thing it does, guys, is increase her max HP, which is kind of what her whole kit scales around. It scales off of crit damage too, but we'll get into that later in the video. On top of this as well, guys, whenever the wearer's memo sprite uses an ability, you're going to be getting an effect called Noctis. Whenever the wearer has Noctis, all allies' memo sprites are going to be ignoring 20% of the target's defense. But not only this, guys, she's also going to be increasing her own damage and her memo sprite's damage by an additional 30%. And whenever the wearer's memo sprite disappears, you're going to be getting 8 energy back. And knowing that her energy cost is 240, this is going to be absolutely massive for her. This really does address a lot of things in her kit, and especially the 20% defense stretch she's able to help the whole team out with, considering she's able to put a huge vulnerability debuff on the enemy as well from launching your ultimate move off. And this feels like honestly one of the better or one of the best light cones for Remembrance, guys. So honestly, if you didn't get this light cone yet, I definitely recommend it. It is really good, actually. But if you don't have the jades to get this, and if you don't have this light cone, guys, other light cone options you can run would be something like the Flower Remembers. And what this light cone does, guys, is first of all increases your crit damage by 24%, but also is going to be increasing the crit damage of your memo sprite by an additional 24% as well. And the reason why I like this one over something that maybe provides crit rate is because, first of all, guys, she gives herself a lot of free crit rate. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. She's getting 35% from one of her traces. She'll also be getting an additional 18% from her traces as well. This is already a pretty stacked amount of crit rate you're able to get. If you're pairing this up with something like the Poet of Morning Collapse, you're giving yourself like 85% crit rate for absolutely free. So you really don't need to build much crit rate into this character if you couldn't get it within the substats. There are definitely other ways you can get the crit rate here that you would want, but we're going to get into the sets and stats a little bit later in the video. But just know that I think this is the second best in-slot option. Hopping into the third best in-slot option, guys, that being Sweat Now Cry Less. Now this does give you crit rate, and the only reason I would recommend this, guys, is if you were maybe struggling on the crit rate department, even though it is so easy to get. If this can prevent you from having to run a crit rate chest, then definitely run this. This is also going to be providing an additional damage increase for the wearer and their memo sprite as well, so I overall think this is a pretty decent option to run here. The fourth best in-slot option here, guys, is going to be the Story's Next Page. This is going to be good because, first of all, it increases the max HP of the wearer by 16%, and then the last of this ability, which is the healing, doesn't really matter too much. You're just increasing max HP of the wearer, which is going to help her out because she scales basically everything off of max HP. If you didn't want to run this, then you can run the Hearst or Light Cone, which is going to be increasing your speed and giving a pretty decent damage increase to the rest of your team as well. So this will just make her that much better of a supporter type character on her team. And while we're on the topic of teams, let's go ahead and talk about her best in slot teams now, because her best in slot teams pretty restrictive. I'm not gonna lie, guys, because one of her core traits is you need multiple Remembrance characters on the team to actually maximize the crit damage buff she gives herself, and this works kind of in the way that someone like the Herta would work, or someone like Acheron would work, right? You're gonna get a massive damage increase depending on how many Remembrance characters you have on the team, and what I would recommend here is at least 3 on the team at all times, because the difference between having 2 Remembrance characters on the team and having 3 is the difference of 35% crit damage, which is absolutely massive. So definitely would recommend at all times to run 3 on the team, 4 if you can get it to get the maximum number out of this buff possible, but 3 is definitely what I recommend here. So let's go ahead and now talk about her best in-slot team. And as of right now, guys, that's going to be a team with her, Remembrance MC, Casterus, and also Hyacinth. Now, this will change a little bit whenever Serene comes out, because Serene will then take the place of Remembrance MC on this team. But regardless if you're running Remembrance MC or Serene here, guys, the reason this team works so well is because, first of all, we all know Casterus works with max HP already, so she's already working pretty well with Evernight here. On top of this as well, we know Hyacinth also works with max HP, healing, and stuff like that, so it all kind of coagulates and kind of makes like the team whole. And then also Serene coming out to the game, guys, gonna be an absolutely amazing buffer, probably gonna give true damage. Also, Remembrance MC here gives true damage, so this also works here pretty nicely. Then you have all Remembrance characters on the team, so you're giving a massive crit damage buff to someone like Evernight, and then Evernight's able to then distribute that crit damage back to the rest of the memo sprites on the team, providing them with more damage as well. So that means your Hyacinth, Remembrance MC, Serene, or your Casterus is gonna be able to do more damage for you. And then on top of this as well, Evernight's able to provide debuffs to the enemy whenever she activates her enhanced state from her ultimate move, so she's going to be putting vulnerability on the enemy. If you have her signature light cone, that's an extra defense shred, which Casterus is able to take use of. Casterus being the main DPS on this team, doing the main majority of the damage, while you have someone like Evernight coming in and doing very bursty but nuke level damage. So this is the best in slot team. Let's go ahead and talk about some other options here, keeping in mind that you want to have 3 Remembrance characters on the team at all times. You can also run her team with Agli as well, but I do think Serene will actually amplify the use of this team here too. And then obviously if you wanted to run a sustain, you can run kind of any sustain here. Whack whack can also work here for the extra energy she can provide. And also Sunday can be a pretty decent option here as well, especially for supercharging Evernight's ability here. She can run into energy issues. He's also going to buff up her Memo Sprite too, so this can also work here. Tribby is also a very decent option here, paired up with the vulnerability that Tribby already provides. This is going to be nice. On top of the res pin you're getting from Tribby's ability as well, and if you have her E1, then obviously you're getting true damage here as well. Sadly, Tribby doesn't have any Memo Sprites and it's not Remembrance. Be kind of broken if she was, let's be honest here. And going over some other teammate options I think she might be able to work with on this team, guys. My Day can work here, Robin can work here, Cypher can work here, Blade can work here, Bronny can work here, Ruan May can work here, and Sparkle can also work here as well. Obviously to varying degrees of success. And if you want to see a full teammate tier list video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because that video will be coming out in the very near future. But regardless of that, guys, those are the teams that I recommend for her. Definitely want to run 3 Remembrance characters on the team at all times. Now with that being said, guys, let's go and talk about her build, right? The part you've been waiting for. Starting off with her best 4-piece set first, but that's you guys subscribing to the channel. Ha! Gotcha! Kind of messed up my little intro to that there, but I gotcha! Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As we just mentioned, teammate tier list coming out soon. I'm done scamming you. Let's get back to the video now. Going into what her actual best and... What the fuck, you two? What her best 4-piece set is. There we go. And that best set is going to be the new World Remaking Deliverer set because at a 2-piece, guys, this will be increasing her crit rate by 8%. On top of this as well, guys, whenever the wearer uses a basic attack or skill, if the wearer's Memo Sprites on the field, you're increasing the max HP of the wearer and the Memo Sprite by 24%, and then increasing all allies' damage by an additional 15% until the wearer's next basic attack or skill. So basically, you can keep this up practically at all times if you're using this correctly. This is the best 4-piece set in my opinion, just because of the fact it gives you max HP, gives you crit rate, which is nice, and then it's also going to be giving you additional damage for your whole team. So she's acting more so as a supporter here, as the role she kind of plays, a supporter slash DPS on the team, right? But I won't say this is the only set that can be ran, and people might disagree with me on this set, but I do think a 4-piece Poet of Morning Collapse can work here as well, especially if you're struggling getting the crit rate in the substats. First of all, why do I think this? She already has a decently low speed, and if you decrease her speed by 8%, guys, then she's gonna have around 91 speed, which is well within the margin of reaching the speed threshold to get the 32% crit rate. Now, guys, this is at the start of battle. This means if you have someone like Ruan May on the team or someone that boosts speed up during battle, you still get the buff. It does not matter what the speed goes up to. So it's a common misconception with this set. As long as the speed is below 95 before entering battle, then you're going to be good to go here. So I do recommend this set, though probably others will disagree because the quantum damage doesn't really do much for her. But the crit rate is absolutely massive here, so honestly, fucking W set. And then other alternatives you can run here, guys, you could probably just string together some 2-piece crit rate, 2-piece crit damage sets and try to get to her crit rate and crit damage thresholds you want to be reaching. So these are other sets you can run here, just an amalgamation of these sets depending on what stats you actually need for the character. But that's going to do it in terms of the 4-piece sets. Now let's hop into the planar sets, guys, which I really only have one recommendation for, and that's going to be the Bone Collector set. And the reason why I only recommend this set, guys, is because first of all, it's increasing max HP, which is nice, but if the wearer's max HP is over 5,000, the wearer and the Memo Sprite get an additional 28% crit damage increase, which is very detrimental to her kit. You want as much crit damage as humanly possible because of how her Memo Sprite crit damage buff works. It takes a portion of her crit damage and then gives that as a buff to every other Memo Sprite of the team in terms of the damage they do. So you want her crit damage skyrocketed as high as you can humanly get it. Now, guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what her overall build should be looking like. Starting off with the main stats first, guys. On the boots, I honestly just recommend HP percentage here. Make her as slow as possible. So if you wanted to run the Poet set, then you can run it. On the body here, guys, going to be crit damage or HP percentage, depending on what you want. Definitely recommend crit damage here, though. Rope is going to be ERR or HP percentage, and then Orb is going to be ice damage. Now, hopping into her sub and recommended stats here, guys. Crit rate, crit damage, HP percentage. Obviously, you want your HP over 5,000, so you can activate the Bone Collector set here. You can bring this higher if you want to. That'll obviously give her more damage. Crit rate needs to be at least 70%, but like I said before, not too hard to get this. And I would say in terms of the crit damage here, guys, I would aim for at least 200 here. You're able to get a 48% crit damage increase for all the Memo Sprites on the team here, so that's what I would recommend in terms of the stats here, guys, and this is every stat that I really recommend here, guys. Like I said, get to these margins here and then shoot for as much crit damage as possible. If you can get over 200, absolutely fucking amazing, guys. Crit rate's really easy to build, but that's gonna do it for this section of the video. If you just came for the build here, guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. But now let's talk about what she actually actually is going to be doing and how you need to be playing her. So essentially, what does Evernight do? What does Evernight look like? As you've heard me mention throughout the whole video here, guys, he kind of plays like a DPS slash support type character because she's giving crit damage to the team. She also puts vulnerability on the enemies and stuff like that, and then she's also doing, you know, nuclear damage in her little burst windows that she has, right? But how do these roles work and work together? That's what we're gonna talk about now, guys. First of all, the main thing of her kit, guys, is the Memoria stacks she has. And what these Memoria stacks are, guys, is basically what's giving her nuclear damage, is what's giving her a speed increase. It's also what's going to be making her immune to CC. Like, this is going to be doing everything here, guys. Now, how do you get these stacks, right? By doing skill attacks, by taking damage, which she can do to herself, by your allies making her take damage, by enemies attacking her. Literally, I don't think there's like one way in the game where you couldn't get Memoria stacks. And then whenever you reach 16 of these stacks, this will actually be enabling her Memo Sprite to do her nuclear level damage, because that's where all the damage is coming from, her Memo Sprite. So what her Memo Sprite does, guys, is at the beginning of battle, it's going to be summoned onto the field. You can also summon her Memo Sprite from both her skill move and her ultimate move as well. And the Memo Sprite's damage is completely derived from whatever Evernight's max HP is. Let's now talk about the skill move, guys. This also, like I mentioned before, summons her Memo Sprite in. It's going to be consuming a portion of Evernight's HP and then bringing Evie, which is her Memo Sprite, back to the field. If Evie's already on the field, it'll be recovering 50% of Evie's HP back, so it basically heals your Memo Sprite back up. This will also be giving the crit damage buff to every single one of your allies' Memo Sprites, and on top of that, giving 2 Memoria stacks back to Evernight. So now let's hop into the ultimate move, because she does have kind of a transformation. This is kind of when she turns into her dumb mommy, right? So whenever you activate her ultimate move, guys, you're actually going to be hitting every single enemy on the field and entering this thing called the Dark Riddle state. And as we mentioned before, guys, this will be taking all enemies take an additional 30% extra damage. On top of this as well, it gives Evernight and Evie a 60% damage bonus, and they'll both be immune to crowd control as well, which is absolutely super massive. The big payoff of this move, guys, is called Dream Dissolving is Due, which is one of Evie's skills. Basically, whenever you have 16 stacks of Memoria, you can launch an absolutely massive nuke on the enemy. It'll be consuming every single one of your Memoria stacks and all of Evie's HP to deal massive AoE damage to the enemies. The bigger stacks you have, the more damage she's going to be able to do. So that's why I say she's kind of complex to play, because you do want to make sure, obviously, you get to the 16 stacks, but if you can get more stacks than that, that's going to be giving Evie a bigger nuke that she's able to do to the enemy. On top of that as well, it's giving a bigger speed buff to Evernight as well. Alright, to give you guys a simple breakdown of how she works, guys, obviously you start the battle, she's automatically summoned, Evie's automatically summoned, guys. Next, you're going to start building up stacks. Next is going to be the setup, guys, because you're going to be using Evernight's ultimate to apply a huge debuff on the enemies, and then also enter her Dark Riddle state. After entering her Dark Riddle state, guys, you're going to have Evie use her Dream Dissolving as Due ability to consume all Memoria and deal massive damage to the enemy. And then finally, guys, is going to go finally to this reset point, right? You reset, you use your skill back, bring Evie back to the field, and then you will go back to this step right here, guys. So this is a bad arrow. You go back to step number 2 here, right, guys, because you can't obviously start the battle again. So literally, you start here, and then you get into this loop here of build stack, setup, nuke, reset, back to build stack, setup, nuke, reset. Simple thing there, a very bursty DPS, but that's how she works. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Are you excited for Evernight if she hasn't came out yet and you're watching this video? Or do you have her, and how is she playing for you? Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Later, bye-bye.